should I use that, put the 20% down and not use the Home Plus, or should I use the Home Plus?
Well, that's up to you.
I
Do
mean,
you need, I mean,
it's going to affect my credit score, right, because of the premium. But I'm also gonna pay off the PMI a lot faster if I put 20% down, right?
right. But rarely do you have someone who's in, you know what I mean, using these programs because this is more if you don't have the money, right?
Okay,
I would probably still use the free money in that
You
situation
would.
and then take my money and go improve on the property,
okay.
right? Because the rate premium isn't that significant, you know what I mean, to where we're going, it's maybe a quarter higher, right? So if you
So
do,
even if you have the money, don't use it, use the program. But if I wanted to put extra money down, can I do that?
you can.
Okay,
You don't have to just put the minimum down. You can use the program and put more down.
okay.
Guys, it's the same concept. Like when you talk to somebody and they're going to sell a house and they're going to make $100 grand in their house, right? And they sell it. Then most people say, well, I'll just roll that $100 grand in my next house because that way my payment will be cheaper or whatever, right? Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. It's not bad. But what if you could put, based on the price point, you put 10% down instead of 20, payment's a little higher, but you buy a house within your means and use the extra 50 grand for something else, right? Buy an investment property, invest in it somewhere, right? That's, to me, that's smart. To me, that's just me. That's my personal preference, right? As opposed to, well, let's take 100 grand and put it in my next house and just have a cheaper payment. You're not building anything that way. You're just
And
trading.
with where mortgage rates are, leveraging in 4% range, long term is so much. I mean, you can go out and do a lot more with your money by buying
Yeah.
an investment property, that type of thing.
So what Mike's saying is like in that same example, right? Just take the free money, keep your money in the bank, improve upon the property in this example, right? Then if you have to sell it, it's going to sell for more, right? You're using someone else's money to leverage it, appreciate an asset, and then when you go to sell that, you're going to make more money. It compounds. You know, that's how I look at it. You know, and then some people will say different things. Dave Ramsey might not quite agree with that 100%, unfortunately, but and I agree, Dave, on almost everything except for that aspect.
All right, so we talked about all of them except for the
That's what it purchase.
203K. Are we
Pat-
still doing that? Pathway to purchase is not in Maricopa. We can touch on
Yeah,
that.
we don't do a ton of those. I mean, those are so few and far between.
Pathway is in this packet, you guys.
Just
but
because it's so
not,
limited to the eligible areas.
It's not a program that we use
Other
in
than the west side
Maricopa.
or
If
the-
you're selling a
Yeah, I
house
mean-
anywhere else, then you can use it. But for the most part, we don't.
So 203K. It's a rehab loan where you're building the cost of the rehab into the loan. It's a great product. It's just a giant pain in the ass. It's hard to get your seller to agree to a 203K because they know it's going to be a minimum 60-day close, right, to do that. But if the house is tore up, a lot of time they don't have a choice, right, if it's that bad. It's just an underused product because it's such a pain.
Because of the time frame, or because of the paperwork and everything that
Both.
needs to get there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's,
What would you recommend doing besides the 203K if they want it?
not, if you can get the 203K and get the deal done, it's a fantastic product. It's just so cumbersome that it just doesn't get used. There's 3 underwrites going on. You're underwriting the borrower, you're underwriting the property and the rehab, and you're underwriting the builder, right? Because they have to have all their paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So with all of that, there's a lot of paperwork involved. Right?
And does it need to appraise twice?
No,
It's just, okay.
Subject to.
subject
It's just
to.
subject to.
So it gets revisited by the appraiser to make sure everything was done to an acceptable manner, but it just gets appraised a one time subject to the repairs that you're making.
Okay.
There's 2 versions. There's the 203K, FHA is the FHA version. Then there's the home style, I think is what it's called.
Fannie
which is-
Mae? Yeah.
Yeah, which is the Fannie Mae version of it. They're great loans. If you can get the deal done, I mean, you can finance 90, on the conventional side, 95% of the repairs, right? So you can go buy a house for $350 and dump,
What's the max on that?
it's conventional, $417.
No, I mean in terms of the repairs.
There's
upside.
no max.
There's no max.
On the conventional side,
As long as
there's
it
no
appraises,
max.
no max.
Right. The FHA has some maximums on what you can do based on whether or not it's structural and cosmetic. I don't know what those are off the top of my head. I want to say it's like 30 grand or something like that, because there's a 203K and a 203K light, they call it. So I think where that one is, I think it's something like if you do less than 30,000, then you're fine. If you go over that, then it has to be structural and improved and that kind of stuff. We don't do enough of them for me to be really like to stay on top of those.
So it only really makes sense if I bought either in Arcadia or basically right here at 8526 South, because you can have houses that are 400, you can have houses that are 900 right down the street. Same with Arcadia. So if I put in 200 grand, I know I'm gonna get that 200 grand out. But if I buy a house in 85027, if I put 200 grand in, I'm not gonna get that ever out. Does that make
Well,
sense?
anywhere, right? You could put 10 grand. What if you buy a piece of junk and you know by putting 10 grand into it, it's going to appraise for 30 grand more, and you want to borrow that 10 grand because you don't have 10 grand in your bank account. This is loans. It's perfect for that. Like you got to borrow. Says, I can't buy this house. Carl, let's go look at another house. I can't buy this house because it's a dump and I can't afford to pay that. I can't afford to fix it after I close my loan. Oh, okay. Well, what if you do this loan product, Mr. Borrower? You can buy it, borrow the money, roll into your loan at the 4% interest rate, whatever. And would you then buy it? Well, yeah, I'd love to. Okay, then if you look around and see remodel comps in the area that show it, say this house is at 250, that show it all day long at 340, right? And you know you're going to put about 40, 50 into it to make it halfway. And it will appraise for, what's 250 plus 40, right? 290 at least, if you're going to put 40 into it. That's a great loan product. That makes sense? They can literally borrow the money, roll right into the loan, right?
Yeah, it's a great product. It just doesn't get used because of what goes into it, right? Like, I'm surprised more people don't use it, but you have to have kind of the perfect storm, right? The sellers who are okay with the longer close, the buyer who realizes, all right, I want to buy a house that obviously I'm not going to be able to move into right away because I'm about to rehab it. So that means you're going to have to buy it and live somewhere while you're remodeling the property, right? You have to do the work of going out and finding the contractor, getting the bids, letting the work be, go through all that stuff. So it just takes the right person, but it's just kind of crazy that it doesn't get used very often when you can finance the rehab costs.
There's no education on it. That's why. Because agents don't know about it. They don't tell their buyers.
Do you run into issues with the end game, basically getting the bids, getting everything done, and it not appraising for a dollar for dollar, basically gain? I mean, if you're gonna put in 30, you need it to appraise for 30K more. But I mean, if you're getting into certain things, they're dollar for dollar. Maybe if you remodel the kitchen, you're gonna get your money back. But if you had a pool, you're gonna get,
That's all done up front, right? So the way the process works is you get the property under contract, you go have your contractor go out there, he does a full line item bid of here's everything we're gonna do to it. We hand that over to the appraiser, then the appraiser then goes through and does an appraisal that says, based off of everything you're telling me you're gonna do here, here's what the appraised value is when it's done. So you're gonna know that up front. Right, it's subject to, and then after that, it's done. It doesn't get reappraised at the end. It's just the appraiser going back out saying that everything you said that you were gonna do is done and done to a satisfactory standard, right? That
By a licensed contractor.
by a licensed
So this
contractor.
contractor's doing it after close,
After close.
and then the appraiser comes in 60 to 3 months down the road.
Just to verify
Okay,
that.
just to
Yeah,
verify.
to close it out. So there's a drop period, right? They close on the house, then they start the construction of the drop period. Where now the contractor's working with the bank, where after he does so much work, an inspector goes out and says, yep, you've done what you said you're gonna do, here's your check. Then they go through and do more work.
So it really shouldn't take that long, it's just that the underwriters are taking so long, because I can get a contractor in there in day 3 and get an itemized copy. And give it to the appraisal on first week.
There's just usually a lot of time, because you're going back and forth, right? Because you have people looking at it, and the contractor's like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, then you're changing something, then you go back, it takes a
Okay.
bit longer.
So as
Then-
long as we tell our buyers, look, you need to get this contractor basically done with an itemized copy by the end of inspection period.
But, so the normal process that involves none of that is 30 days, right? So now you're adding in, all right, we've gotta get all of their documentation, their licenses, insurance, all that kind of stuff. One underwriter's got a department look at that. Then you're going through your line item bids, going on that. Then once you get all that put together, then it goes to an appraiser. That appraisal probably takes 10 to 12 days to do those appraisals. So you're just adding a bunch of time in. So you need 60 days. It's always gonna take between 45 and 60 days.
Okay.
And you're saying sometimes the drawback on that is the fact that the seller doesn't want to drag it out that far, is that what you
Right,
mean?
because you're going in up front with a 60-day COE. You guys tell me that, is that easy?
Probably not.
For the most part, no. But I mean, I have a 68 day.
But you get a house that's been on the market for a long time, and the seller's not just discounting it heavily, right? So it's sitting,
Well,
it needs
on-
work.
So for example, on my home tour last week, I go do my home tour, and our final house, I don't know why the guy from the title company would even allow this, but we go into the final house on the tour, and we walk in, and everybody goes, fuck. And the house is ripped out, right? There's no carpet, there's no tile, there's no countertops in. It was a house this guy was remodeling for his daughter and her husband, and they split and he stopped. So now it's been sitting there on the market. It's a big, nice house. It's just gutted, not gutted, it still has everything, but all that stuff's out.
Mhm.
And it's been sitting on the market for, I forget, it was like 100 days or something like that.
Mhm.
So I'm walking through this house and I look at the agent and I go, "Are you marketing this for a home style?" And he goes, "What's that?" And I go, "Dude, what are you doing? Like, that's the only way you're gonna ever sell this, because everybody walks in here and goes, I don't wanna go through all this."
Right.
Yeah, you do, you can finance that all on your own, because everybody walks in thinking, I'm gonna buy this and then have to come out of pocket, right,
Right.
to finish this house.
Can they even close on it if it's not considered livable? I mean, can you get financing?
No, they'd have to do it all, yeah.
So I mean, the flooring and all that stuff, that would
Well, it
have.
depends, I mean, you can still go out and get a portfolio loan for that stuff, you're just not gonna get a conventional loan.
Yeah,
But that's
So-
why it's been sitting there, right? He's been waiting for that person,
Jim, yeah.
that flipper or whatever that wants to come in, but then of course he wants market value for it, that kind of thing. And so he starts, so we sent him all the stuff yesterday, or not yesterday, Monday, and he's going, "Oh my God, now I think I could sell this house." Like, how do you not know that?
So when I am speaking to a lead on the phone and I have people sometimes say, you know, even if I did buy, I'd be looking for a fixer-upper. I'd bring this
Perfect.
up.
Mhm.
Did you know, and let's get an appointment with Jordan because he's gonna show you the best of the worst.
Mhm.
Are we able to use a home plus home style loan? 2 programs,
No.
you don't, just one program at a time.
Yeah.
Can,
Those are two
do
separate
you
programs.
have to be first-time home buyer to use any of these?
It depends. Some of them, if you are a first-time home buyer, it's within the last 3 years. After you haven't owned the home in 3 years, for all of them, you're considered a first-time home buyer.
Right.
But each one of them, I think, is listed on here.
I don't,
So are you asking if you can use a down payment assistance with,
that's the first question, but you can use 2 programs.
okay,
I don't think you have to be a
so a
first-time home buyer
person
for
could
that.
not
Jeff?
use,
It doesn't say it on here, so you know.
Okay.
a person could not use a down payment assistance program with, the one that you were just talking about to
No.
be able to fix the, what needs to be fixed,
No.
okay.
Can I, if I buy 2 investment homes, can I use the home style for both of them?
Is the home style not owner occupied?
Oh, that's a good question.
Let me see.
Are these programs owner occupied?
That's a good question.
Most of them are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna require that it's owner occupied.
Yeah, I think it's 2 or 3 year owner occupied. I think it's 5 years you have to stay in property.
5 years?
And what I heard last year, I don't know if it's changed.
No, none of them, they're not grants, so only on grants do you have to stay in the property for a certain amount of time.
Okay,
The DPA programs, you don't have to stay in for a certain amount of time.
okay.
Okay,
Jared, I think they're owner occupied only, but,
Okay.
so you wouldn't be able to do it.
so then
We gotta
the,
wrap this up, guys.
Yeah.
It's at 9:25.
okay, so then the,
I'll look that up.
home in 5,
That one, how many years you have to stay in there?
how many years do you have to stay?
Yeah,
That's a
home in
grant
5.
program.
You don't have to stay in a certain amount of time. It's not a gift.
You have to keep it for a certain amount of time, right, to
Yeah.
get it to drop off, but you don't have to,
To get what to drop on?
The grant
the
for
grant.
down payment
No, guys.
assistance.
There's
Which
no-
pro-
It's free money.
Which program is?
That's the one where there's a
Sell it
silent.
whenever you want to.
Oh,
Free money.
attachments.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
that's if they're doing like a silent second. You don't have to own it for a certain amount of time.
Okay, all right. Cool.
Right here, look.
Good, okay.
No repayment requirement or prepayment penalty related to the loan or gift.
Great. Is it the same with Pathway? That might have been the one I was thinking of, but
Maybe, I don't do a lot of those.
that's one I just closed, that's what I was thinking of. It's fine.
I'll look up on the pathway to purchase, I'll look and see if that one has a certain amount of time, but I don't think it does. But I'll look that up for you.
All
Cool?
right, thanks,
You guys
Mike.
on to go lead generate? Time.